Hey guys, welcome to another journal story time episode. So, when I was in school in kindergarten, my school had this Cinderella play and I was a part of it. I wasn't Cinderella though. So there was a scene where Cinderella was supposed to play with some animals in the forest, and I was one of them. I was a butterfly. My costume was a onesie with some yellow polka dotted wings attached to it by Velcro. It was actually quite cute, and my mother still kept it. Anyway, as an adult, I found out that the fairy tales that we read as children had some very different origins and were definitely not as straightforward and simple as we were led to believe. So, with my weird connection to Cinderella, I decided to look her up. The first and oldest known story is that from the 7th century BCE. It is the Greek story of Rhodopis. Now, Rhodopis was a regular courtesan. One day she was bathing in the river when out of nowhere an eagle swoops in and snatches her sandal. I mean, why? But anyway, the eagle drops the sandal in the lap of a neighboring kingdom. The king is just mesmerized by the beauty of the sandal and thinks that the owner must be hot as well. So he sends his people on a quest to find this owner, and they find Rhodopis, and the king and Rhodopis get married. Very convenient. Then we have the Chinese Yizhang from the 9th century AD. After Yizhan's parents die, she has to live with her cruel stepmother and stepsister. One day, she meets this golden fish, which is actually a spiritual form of a dead mother. She starts talking to this fish every day, sharing her sorrows and whatnot. But her stepmom finds out, kills the fish, and literally serves it for dinner. I mean, wow. However, the fish's bones are magical, so these bones give Yeshan pretty clothes and golden shoes to wear to a local festival where she loses the shoe, a king finds it, and the rest follows. A fun detail in this story is that her stepmom and stepsis are later killed by magical flying rocks. I know, so random. Then we have the 17th century Italian Cenerentola by Basile. This is the one which first mentions about a fairy creature living in a tree and granting wishes. And then there is the version that we all know, the 17th century Cendrillon by Charles Perrault. This is where the glass slippers and the fairy godmother make their grand entrance along with the other magical elements like the pumping carriage and all of that. But the weirdest story has to be that of the German brothers Grimm. And honestly, I want to know what they were smoking because this is just wild. So, in this version, the father is still alive and also evil. There are pigeons that grant Cinderella the dress and the shoes, and Cinderella actually goes to the ball thrice and escapes the prince. And each time she escapes, the prince goes to her and waits near her house, and her father is like, huh, so you think the girl that you met lives here? And the father just ransacks the place to find Cinderella because he's not even sure if that's his daughter. Anyway, so finally when the prince gets hold of the shoe, he comes looking for the girl, and the eldest stepsister, is so desperate to get into the shoe that she cuts off her toe so that her feet fit in, because who needs intact feet when you're going to become a queen? And no, I'm not saying that. That's what her mother says to her to convince her to cut off her toe, which is as dysfunctional as it can get. And remember that these are supposed to be children's stories. So, yeah. Anyway, later the prince is riding with the eldest stepsister, and those two magical pigeons come and tell him that, oh look, her feet are bleeding, which is again so weird because how did the prince not notice that in the first place when she first wore the shoes or whatever? The prince takes her back and has Cinderella try on the shoes, and you know the rest of the story. And there you have it. I think it's very interesting that all these tales from different regions and different cultures more or less talk about the same person. Now, I don't know how that came into being. I am satisfied just being fascinated with it. Thank you for hanging out with me. You can always tell me in the comments if you want to listen to something particular, and I'll try my best to dig it up. Bye.